Because of their conditions. So conditions right here define your choices, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the challenge. And let me back this up. Your conditions can define your choices, but they don't have to. Right. Because just because everybody in your neighborhood is selling drugs
doesn't mean you have to.
It don't mean you got it. It don't mean you have to.
That's right.
You have a what? What you just say? You got an option. You got an option. You don't have to sell no drugs. Especially during the time during the COVID. Man, everybody hiring out there, man.
Yeah.
Man, these people hiring you now. You walk right in, they interview you and say, can you work now? Mm-hmm. Can you start work now? Matter of fact, we'll pay you when you get out. So you don't have no excuse.
Yeah.
So how you think a judge feel when you go in front of him for selling dope?
Right.
That's just common sense. Mm-hmm. And not only that, you putting everybody in jeopardy. Mm-hmm. When you selling dope, you put everybody around you in jeopardy. Mm-hmm. And that's real. And normally, somebody that's selling dope, they ain't gonna take responsibility for their actions. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're around a whole bunch of people. If it's a whole bunch of people, I'm telling you, a whole bunch of people, you get pulled over in the car, you know there ain't nothing in your car.
No. Right.
Until they pull that car over and everybody get out. Then they find a pack in your car, what you gonna say?
Everybody getting charged.
Everybody getting charged. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Because the person that put it there, 9 times out of 10, hey, he ain't trying to go to jail either. Mm-mm. And this is the way they got it now. It's so crazy because the way they got it now, if you never had no type of conviction, your homeboy will tell you, man, I'm already on probation, man. Right. Take this for me. Mm-hmm. Take one for the team.
I don't care. Shoot, is this your shit? I ain't gonna
all right. Maybe next week. You see what I'm saying? But you have to stand on that. Yeah. You have to be accountable for your own actions. And that's real. That's being a man. You know, you subject yourself to be taken away from your family for something that don't belong to you. Mm. But at the same time, you put yourself in that position because you know that the people around you selling dope anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of kind of like a no-win situation. You see what I'm saying? So the best thing is just don't hang around people that's selling dope.
Yeah, that's how you avoid that.
Or that's out there drilling. Because if somebody out there drilling and he's spinning the block, y'all know how it is, he outside.
We outside.
Whoever he beefing with, when they run up on him and you there, you hit too. You hit.
That's it. Pop.
Man, they taking kids out. The majority of, since 2022 done came in, the majority of people that done died from homicide is females and kids. Yeah.
They ain't over 21 yet.
Innocent bystanders for shooting at somebody else. And it's kind of hard when somebody's shooting at you like this.
Ain't even looking.
And not even looking. Not even aiming at the target. Just shooting.
Right.
Just shooting. So, just think about what I'm talking about, because this is just common sense. Mm-hmm. And common sense plays a role right here in these 3 C's. Your next one, look at this word right here. Don't let this word intimidate you. It's called cognitions. Cognitions. This is how you explain yourself, the choices you have made. Your self-talk. Cognitions is what you're thinking. In psychology terms, you hear it all the time. Cognitions. What's your thought life? That's why when you're in the court system, they always ask about your past. Mm-hmm. They try to get a picture of how you grew up. If there is any type of abuse, or any type of abuse, or any type of drug use, or were your parents on drugs? Or do you have somebody in your family that was constantly going in and out of jail? You see what I'm saying? And this is how they profile as well. Mm-hmm. Right?
And that's true.
Knowing a man's cognitions, how he think. Anytime something happened in the neighborhood, if it's breaking and entering, and Drayshawn, that's his thing, that's his motive. If he in that neighborhood, guess what they gonna come look for? Yeah. They gonna come look for him because they know that's what he like to do.
Right.
And Dre Sean, yeah. Oh, yeah, he out? Yeah, we're gonna go check him out. He like to break in cars. And this is the reason why they know.
Yeah.
And then they go in your house and go in your room and they start seeing all this extra stuff, knowing that you don't use telescopes and all types of other stuff. They know that stuff's stolen because it doesn't fit the person you are.
That's right.
It doesn't fit the person you are. So, this is your cognitions. Anything else you want to say on this, Sean? Yeah.
I want to say, my first conviction, I only got one. First time I got convicted, because I took a charge they want for me.
Yeah.
I get down there, they put, you know how in the magistrate office, like when you go to the magistrate office, they got the built-in stuff into the wall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We sitting there, while we waiting. He got all three of us beside each other. He looked at me, he like, ooh, you look mad. He talking about, you got any family members in here? All I said was my last name. He said, you be back. I said, Daviner. He said, I got about 3 of your cousins in here right now.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why? Conditions. It's how they monopolize off the community. Because they know out of every 5, 3 somewhat is going to hit the system. Because of their conditions. And the crazy part about it in schools, they don't teach you how to think.
Right.
They just feeding you stuff that you foreign to.
Right.
But they never teach you how to think. They talk about great thinkers, but they don't teach you how to think, how to stay out the streets. See, inside the school system, somewhat, they don't talk about the true realities of the streets. They only talk about the history and the academics and the literature. That's what they speak about. But they don't tell your story of how you're trying to survive each and every day in the streets. They don't know what's going on in the background when you go home, that you got a mother that's struggling on drug addiction. That when you go home to a trap house. Or you go home to somebody that's beating on you. Or, God forbid, that's suffering sexual abuse. Because that's big too.
Yeah, that's good.
In the community. But we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about sexual abuse. But it's touchable to each and every one of us in some sense. And it affects us. That affects us.
Right.
That abuse, it affects. Right here, those conditions that you're going to, you carry that stuff with you, and it dictates your choices.
And I want to say you're right. Because what's going to happen when the first time that sexual problem, she say no?
That's right.
Well, how you going to feel when she say no?
That's right. Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So, that's the conditions. To your cognitions. This is how you explain yourself for the choices you make. And sometimes we use this right here, we use this, the conditions, as an excuse. Oh, this is why I did this right here. I had no food in the house, so I had to sell drugs. I had to take care of my little brother. I had to take care of my little sister. Because my mama spent all the money all the time. But this is excuses. It's an excuse because why? We all have choices, man. Yes. We all have choices. What is a choice again? You can choose how your conditions affect your behavior. It says you can choose. That's why I got question marks all on the board. Each and every day, you're hearing voices. Deshaun talks about the voices that he hears, he selects. But I hope he got it he's thinking a little better now from the classes we done had. Because you can select upon favor that you have with somebody. But are they good examples? Are they good examples? Are they leading by examples? So if you choosing to listen to them, they're not showing you no good examples. You'll follow right in their footsteps and wind up in the prison system. Right with them or in the ground. And that's what get me. You know, guys go to prison, and I'm guilty myself. You know, years ago, instead of coming home and telling the community and people in the community about the pain and how bad it was, I come home with little muscles and glorify where I've been at. Down to the food, Even down to being on lockdown.
Right, 24.
Totally insane. Insanity to be talking about being in captivity.
Right.
Being in captivity and glorifying it. Can't go nowhere. Can't even get up and do nothing on your own when you got to use the bathroom. You got, hey, Shelly, you got to use the bathroom. You got to turn over. Here you go. He right in front of you. You got to turn over.
Mm-hmm.
You sitting on the stool talking. Yeah, you see that game last night, man? You're on the stool talking to him. Right in the same room. Who want to go through that?